I wonder if Jordan Pugh was rocking out. This NSYNC? Which is it? This is not NSYNC, is it? Or is it the other one? Backstreet Boys? Backstreet Boys. Everybody. I wonder if Jordan Pugh was keeping it real back then dancing to this song. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Jordan Pugh joining us. Was that your jam back in the day?
Hey, man, I was an NSYNC guy back in the day.
Yeah?
True story. If they ever go on tour, your boy will be at the concert now.
What?
I'm not going to tell any lies on that.
Were you a Justin Timberlake guy?
Yeah. Still am.
Hey,
Still am.
So OB and I had this running feud for 2 years, maybe longer, that I said JT at his peak was way cooler than Mick Jagger. And on this show, I got destroyed from our older audience, like, Justin Timberlake ain't cool. That guy could dance. That guy, but I saw a video of him recently. He didn't look all that good, by the way, just for the record.
I mean, we all age. I can't be in that argument because I couldn't tell you not one Mick Jagger song reference, whatever you want to call it. So I'm out of that wheelhouse. Y'all can kill me in the comments if you want to. That's not my era. You know what I mean? But yeah, we all age. You got to give him some grace. But Prime JT, yeah, I rock with Prime JT.
Yeah, he had some great albums. All right, now let's try to get back our man card and talk to some football.
Yeah, let's do it.
Jordan, this game, there's so much. I don't want to understate the importance of this game for my personal feelings, and I think yours as well, right?
Yep.
After what happened, and I'm going to go back a long ways, okay? I'm just going to throw all this stuff out there because I'm just angry about it. Schloss leaving, basketball under Buzz losing 2 out of 3 to Texas, A&M football not playing Texas in forever, getting the home game and losing without an offensive touchdown. There's Texas going all the way to the Final Four with what I thought was an easy schedule last year, and now they're throwing the shade back at A&M for the schedule. Them celebrating on the 50-yard line of Kyle Field, and there was some other drama there as well. All those reasons, they are the one team standing between you and an SEC championship game berth. And for my mental health, I need it, man. I think you need it too.
I have been looking forward to this week all year long. Look, here's the deal. As a player, I know what this week meant. It's big time. The matchup, the rivalry, all that. But everything that we have on the line, we're still playing for something, right? Saw something the other day about the scenarios, who goes to the SEC title, that kind of deal. But look, man, it means something when you have a gripe with somebody, when you have a grudge with somebody, and especially when a team kept you out of your ultimate goal last year. Now, that was a lot of our undoing. But when you go into this matchup, understanding what's at stake for the future of the program, it sounds heavy, but it is heavy. And it means something when you work for something. And so, man, this week's exciting. Look, I think that the matchup will be big. But I honestly believe the same way that I told you that Georgia exposed Texas, I think we're going to expose them the same way. When we look up matchup for matchup, I don't think that they can compete with us on the edge from a skill standpoint. I think their only wish and hope is that their D-line has the best game they've ever had all year long, because that's the strength of their team right now. Arch has been playing better, but he's still inconsistent. I don't think he's seen a defense and a pass rush like ours. Their offensive line can't hold up. I think we are the better team. The biggest thing now that I worry about as a player is, can we control the emotions? Can we keep our emotions in check? And can we get the task done? That's the biggest thing. So, but yeah, man, as far as the player in me, the fan in me, the Aggie in me, this means something. And you don't want to get your heart broken again. And we're right there at the cusp. And I think, man, this team has what it needs, and we're built the right way. We're built with the right mentality. So I'm looking forward to this.
All right, so I'm going to bring up some areas that I worry about because, I'm the worrier. You're my therapist during the week. I worry about their ability to stop the run, right? I know A&M can beat you multiple ways, right? But I worry about their ability to stop the run. And I worry about our special teams, right? At least field goal kicking. And I do think it'll be better. I don't know why. Blind faith, I guess. I believe in Randy Bond's going to be better if he gets an opportunity. I do. I do believe that. But I'm still worried about it. Those two areas on the road, tight games. And also, when's the last time we saw A&M? I know take Samford away. When's the last time you saw A&M say, man, is it LSU the last time you're like, man, look at A&M? Because even in Missouri, we came away from ooh, they rushed for a lot of yards on us. So when is the last time you're like, man, A&M kicked that?
LSU LSU and South Carolina. Okay, so look, LSU was the defining statement. So we had the Notre Dame win. That was big. That brought the belief. LSU was the defining statement of who we are as a team. All right, now when we look at the South Carolina game, I told you out of everything that we've done as far as blowout wins, whatever, that was the most impressive thing that I've seen all year long, because it showed you the grit and the fortitude who we are, but also showed you how we can turn it on in an instance. Defense and offense in one half, a complete shutout, and another half, what was it, 31 points, whatever it was in the half, right? So you saw a resilient team that's built the right way in that South Carolina game, and you saw utter dominance. What you saw was a team that was lackluster in the first half, playing 11 o'clock game, and you just have those ills and those woes. I think when you roll into this Texas game, you understand what it means. It's something different. And this is the player in me speaking. There's a different feeling that you have all week long. There's a different focus that you have all week long. Not only that, we're playing for the right to go to the SEC championship, right? So we've been rolling all year long. We've come together as a football team. We played good football. We've overcome extreme adversity. Now we have one more giant, per se, standing in our way. We have to knock that down. I worry about the run game, the special teams, but also at the same time, if I flip it, our special teams has been dynamic too. Our special teams has opened up games as well. We've come in and we've always been a second half team where we've made adjustments as far as run game on defense and stifled offenses. We've come in and we've made extreme plays on offense coming out of the second half, starting games as well. We've always found the answer. And I don't think that's going to be any different this week. That's the beautiful thing about this coaching staff. If something's not working, we adjust, and our adjustments have clicked every single time. Now you just need that to happen one more week.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on Texas Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Where has Arch improved in your eyes?
I honestly don't think he's improved that much.
Okay.
I think that he's gotten better at managing the offense. I just think that his playmakers on the edge have made more plays for him. That's what I think. When you look at it, he's not doing anything big time. He's managing the game. It's a lot of underneath throws, but you have guys like Ryan Wingo who are getting a lot of yak yards, breaking big time plays. I think we got to be good on defense and tackling in space. That's what I think we have to do. If you notice, earlier in the year, they were trying to let Arch cook a little bit. They're trying to open up the offense, trying to get more explosive plays. But you saw a guy who wasn't ready yet. You saw him improve throughout the season, but you're seeing a lot more intermediate throws, and you're seeing Sarkisian get the ball into the playmaker's hands as soon as possible. I think that we have a really good chance of exposing Arch again, because he's running up against a pass rush, against a defensive line, man, that's been terrorizing people. I think that's going to be in his head all week long. So I think you're going to see a lot of quick game out of Sark. I think you're going to see a lot of screens, a lot of offensive manipulation to utilize our D-line's greatest strength against us. And our linebackers, our secondary have to be good and have to be tight in open field tackling, because I think that would be the game plan. And that's what I would do if I was Sark going against us, understanding that they have those type of weapons on the outside. I still think that we match up better than them from a skill position standpoint on both sides of the ball. But we got to be tight-knit in those open field tackling, especially going in this week.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on Texas Live. Jordan, what about their defensive ability to stop the run? What do they do? Are they just elite on the defensive line? Is there something that they do? And what do you think about A&M's ability to run on that defensive line? That's
their greatest strength, but also our strength is the offensive line as well. All right, if you had to pinpoint one thing that they do well, is their defensive line can get after it. They just have dudes. I said this earlier a couple weeks ago. I said they are a very talented team without an identity. I think that their talent keeps them in games or keeps them within reach in games, but ultimately I think that they fold under pressure. They get punched enough, they finally get the knockout blow put on. The only thing that can keep this game going is if their D-line gets going. But I think the way that our offensive line has played, we've been inconsistent at times, but our offensive line can stifle them. But not only that, the X factor that we have with Marcel, that creates hesitation as a defensive lineman, right? When you know that you have a guy who's mobile, who can create plays, who can extend plays, that changes your pass lanes, but most importantly, your pass responsibilities. You have to be more contained, thought-driven when it comes to game planning. I can't get after the guy. When you compare Arch and you can compare Marcel, I know that I can get after Arch because he's not going to threaten me heavily with his run game. I know when I'm playing against Texas A&M, I got a guy who's a +1 in the run game. It changes the way that I think. It's changed the way that I play, and it changes my aggression on that defensive line. So with our offensive line, with our X factor in Marcel, with how we've been running the ball, I think that we equal each other out. But ultimately, I think that we win because of the Marcel factor.
All right, so I'm going to go back to that Arch statement. Last year, he scored a touchdown running on A&M, around the edge. And that was kind of where they used him a lot of times. So you don't see him as a playmaker with his feet when he's the full-time guy?
No, because it requires him to be in the game full-time. When he scored that touchdown, it was a QB power. That's what that play was. He didn't throw the ball one time against us, right? So you're utilizing a weapon that he possesses, but his running ability is what's the best way to explain it? It's not an X factor. It's just an addition that you need to be aware of. It's not a game-changing mobility factor when it comes to us. When you look at what we've done, the Taylor Greens of the world that we played against at Arkansas, that guy was a rushing threat. Arch wants to be a pocket-first guy who can use his legs when necessary. But I think that the way that we've played defense, the way that we've manipulated teams, the way that we've gotten to our third down defense, I think we're going to be playing too many games with him, and we're going to be confusing him, which is going to slow his process down. If you watch Arch, he's been very frantic within the pocket. He has improved from week 1, but he is still frantic. When you look at what we do defensively, how we have our combo coverages, how we'll show different looks at the line of scrimmage, how we'll drop certain guys, I think we'll have him guessing all night, which will slow his progression down, which will slow his assertiveness down, whether to run or whether to throw. So I think that's where we are from a defensive standpoint. I am not sold on Arch. I'm not sold. I think that he just wears a Texas jersey, and anything that he does well, people want to heart praise on. I think that our defense and what Elko can do, we will stifle what they want to do offensively just because of the mental aspect and the mental games that he has to play.
We just had a guest on, Kirk Bowles, who's great, who writes for the Chronicle, used to be at the Austin American-Statesman, and he said that if you look at, I forget if it was 5 or 6 games, Justin, do you remember when he talked about Arch? I think he said 5 games or the last month or so, that Arch would be a Heisman contender if you looked at the last month of the season. Okay, take it from there.
All right. That's where we confuse numbers with impact. Okay, there's a difference between having numbers and difference between impact. It's easy to throw for 200-plus yards when guys are taking it 80-plus on screenplays, right? That counts in the stat line. Let's just take the South Carolina game with Marcel. You saw a guy that had an impact on the football game, right? You look at go back to the Notre Dame game, a guy who had an impact on the football game. There's impact versus stats, and that's what you just proved my point with what I'm talking about by him having that burnt orange on. Anything that he does well, all of a sudden we want to hype that up. Plus the last name, of course, all that. But he does not impact the football game. There are other people like Ryan Wingo, for example, that impact the football game. Marcel is an impact on that football game. Plus Concepcion, plus Craver, plus, if we get Le'Veon Moss back, our running back core that we had, we have impacts, right? It sounds good. I'm not buying it. Because if he was that big of an impact, he had that much of a Heisman. When he plays against legitimate defenses, i.e. Georgia, he looks average at best. And he's running up against another legitimate defense. And when we look at that matchup, we have the advantage every single time. So I'm glad that he said that. It's cool. It sounds really good, and you'll get some clicks. But the reality is he's not an impactful player this year.
Jordan, do you think for this game in particular, you can come in too amped up, like too much revenge factor, too much? Yes. This is Texas.
Yes. I remember my senior year when we played them. That was the 10-year anniversary of the bonfire. Man, you can't explain. You know how they always talk about there's a spirit in Kyle Field, right? I just remember, man, we were sitting in the pregame meal, the guys talking, me and Danny Baker, for example, just talking about the game, how hype you are. You're sitting around all day long, getting ready to play. I remember I had to go into the locker room, and I had to tell Coach K to calm me down because you're just excited, you're amped, you're anxious. Mm-hmm. Plus, it was senior night, that kind of thing. So, yes, that plays a factor. That's why I say this game is about who can control the emotions. It's clear that we're the better team. It's not even a question. If anybody has any football competence and turns that tape on, we are the better team by far. But now you're talking about emotions. When emotions come in, emotions can sway you up and down, right? And you'll be in a harder contest than you thought you would. So if we can control those emotions, which I think we can do a good job of doing that, we should handle this game easily.
How much do you think physicality is going to determine the winner of this one. I know you talked about being able to, manage your emotions up and down.
Mm-hmm.
How much is the physicality? Because if you look at where Texas has struggled and where A&M has excelled is, winning the fourth quarter. I think Texas has done fine in the fourth quarter except for the Georgia game, but that was very evident, the physicality in that game. And I think that's what A&M excels at, is that fourth quarter. By that point, that slow drip becomes a tidal wave.
Turn on two games, LSU and South Carolina. So you saw us go into the locker room down at halftime against LSU. You saw us in the second half, just like you said, a slow burn, just drain them. South Carolina, you saw us go into the locker room down at half, major points that we had to recover from, and you saw us be explosive and then take hope and life away. This team is built the right way because we have passed the test throughout the year. So we go from Notre Dame to the LSUs to the South Carolina. It's the different tests that we have passed. Texas has not passed those tests. And every time that they have been tested that way, they have folded. Okay. And we're talking about against elite teams, i.e., we'll go back to the most recent, which is Georgia. When you look at us and when we have gone in and we have faced those tests, we have excelled. Right. That tells you that you have a team that is built correctly. You have a team that is thinking the correct way. You have a culture that is built on winning, but is built on grit. And I don't see that with Texas this year. I don't see a team that is built that way. I don't see a team that's willing to fight you in the phone booth. Right now, are they capable? Yes, because they have talent. But hey, man, I have 11 game sample size to show me otherwise. You are who they are. We have to remind them of who they are. We do that. We handle business.
All right. What do you say to those that would argue with you? Yeah, but Texas has beat 3 top 10 teams. They're trying to make it 4. And if they do it, they think they've got an argument for the playoffs. And they'll also point out, who's A&M beat?
We've beaten everybody in the SEC that's on our schedule, just like y'all. Same thing. I mean, we can go down this whole deal. Look, man, we can go matchup for matchup, point for point, all that type stuff. At the end of the day, I have seen a team that has been inconsistent. I have seen a team that is withered under pressure. And I have seen a team that every time that the lights have been on this year, they have folded. When you look at Texas A&M, I have seen a team that every time that the pressure has been on, they've risen to the occasion. All right. So you're seeing two different dynamics when you're coming into this game. At the end of the day, for Texas A&M, the number one key is this. Can we manage emotions? Can we do that? If we are an emotionless football team, we handle business. It's business as usual. Can we handle the first punch? Because they're going to come out swinging. Sark is going to have a hell of a first 15 plays. More than likely, they're going to score on the first drive. That's just what he does. Beautiful scripting. You got to give him his credit on that. But now, how do we adjust to that? How do we handle the ups and downs if something happens out of the norm? We've proven that we can do that. That's why I believe that we are the better team. That's why I believe that we are the best team in the country. And now you have to remind Texas of who we are. You can tell me about the past. You can tell me about whatever you want. You got to line up in front of me on Friday. And you got to remind them who we are. Point blank, period.
Bro, we got like 15 quotes from you today that we're gonna have to tweet out. Like it might be sick. It might be every freaking question.
Man, do it.
I called it. I told Justin like it's coming, right? And like so I know sometimes when I'm with my questions, I know what I'm doing. Like
I'm so tired of So now it's Thanksgiving week. I got the kids at home, doing all that. Man, I'm watching ESPN, and all I hear is Texas and how Texas can beat us. I'm looking at Colin Cowherd talking about Texas, this, that, and the other. I'm like, has anybody not watched Texas A&M this year? Has anybody not watched an 11-0 football team go out and win? Act like we're just non-existent. And that's because I think people are still waiting on the fall. And I get it. But, man, all you can go off is previous history. And this history this year shows that we are the dominant team. I am tired of listening to the noise. I'm tired of listening to everybody talk about Arch, who is an average football player at this point in the stage in his career. I'm tired of everybody hyping up a soft football team, which Texas has shown. They have been soft. And what we have shown is the resilience factor. We've been tough. We've been blue collar, and we have choked people out week in and week out. So when you take all the evidence that has been presented to us, why is everybody making the case for the team that doesn't deserve to be the favorite? That's what blows my mind. I don't know if you can hear the intensity in my voice, but there's a different intensity. I told you, everybody understands. Players know what this is. All it is for us. Can we manage the emotions? We manage the emotions. It changes the outcome of everything that we do.
All right, last thing for you. I'm going long because you've been too brilliant.
Let's do it.
We're in a world where A&M has to go undefeated to go to the SEC championship game. So, like, regardless of what you want to say about their record and yada, or who they've played, excuse me, Like, they have to be the thin margins, Jordan. Just talk to me about that, because, like, in any other world, I feel like 11-1 should get you in. So, you know what? Damn it. Go get that 12-0.
Yeah, we didn't sign up for complacency, man. We signed up for the hard part. That's why we moved to the SEC. We didn't sign up for anything to be given. This is what makes the season beautiful. Everything that we have done, we have earned. So the margin for error is very minimal, very small. And that's what you got to love as a player. I used to love when coaches used to say pressure is a privilege. Well, you daggone right it is, right? Because this is what we signed up for. I want you at your best. I want no excuses. So when I beat you, you know that I was better than you. You know that I was dominant. You know that you were subordinate. And then plus, on top of that, we get to go to Atlanta and we get to do it on your home field the same way you did it to us. Yeah, there's a small, what's the phrase I'm looking for, man? Line where it can teeter here and there. But man, we know what the margins of errors are. We know what we need to do. We know how we need to handle business. Once again, we handle emotions. I think we clearly and we definedly beat Texas.
Jordan, I appreciate it, man. Happy Thanksgiving. Can't wait to talk to you next week after we get ready for an
Yes,
SEC
sir.
championship.
All right, let's do it. Sounds good. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, sir.